Hello, this is the Quackcast, and I'm Ozone Ocean. With me is Baines and Tance. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
And today we're talking about tropes. So here is our theme music. And that was our theme music. Alright, so now I'm going to introduce the featured comic. Quackcast is going to tell us about a comic called The Hotel. So Quai, tell us about The Hotel.
Hello, this is Quackcast, and the feature I've selected for this week is The Hotel by Pinup Citizen, and it is rated T for teen. Miss Oaktree is burned out from overwork and has been ordered to take a much-needed vacation with hotel plus amenities paid in full, courtesy of her boss. Greeted by a blonde bellboy who holds various job titles around the hotel, from concierge to tiki stand bartender to taxi driver, this double-shift-loving acquaintance is about to become really familiar. Finally letting go of work-related stress and spending what felt like an entire weekend partying, Miss Oaktree checks her phone, as per the blonde bellboy's suggestion, to discover that it is still Friday the 26th. The comic itself contains additional content, such as coloring pages, word searches, and maze puzzles, making it the perfect accompaniment to pack when visiting an actual hotel. Attempt to escape the Marble Tower Hotel and read The Hotel by Pinup Citizen, rated T.
That was Quai with The Hotel, which is a fascinating, surreal-looking comic. Alright, so now Gunwallace has given us a theme to a comic called Faeward, which is I did the feature for that a few weeks ago. It's a cool-looking comic. And the theme to it, well, a very happy, joyful, jaunty tune with an almost nautical air about it, with a variety of instruments, mainly synth, with a special appearance by what sounds like a synth bagpipe. Take it away, Gunwallace, with your theme to Faeward. And that was the theme to Faeward, which is a great little comic by the author Fancy Fatale, or Fancy Fatali, I'm not sure, but it's pretty cool. So now we're talking about tropes, our favorite tropes, tropes we like, tropes we hate, tropes we use. So
Tripoli trope.
Tripoli. Well, tropes about Tripoli. Well, Muammar Gaddafi is not really that popular anymore. So. He doesn't feature very heavily. Well, tropes that I like to use, I'm not sure. I initially in Pinky TA, I copied a lot of anime kind of tropes that were popular in the 90s. And those tropes were like, in so many freaking animes. I watched a lot of them because I loved them. But the tropes were all focused around some sort of conspiracy by other characters about conspiracy by some kind of older characters or controlling characters. So all the action would take place, and then at the end of the story or the end of the episode, some character would look at the action on a monitor or from some distant area. They'd be sitting in their office and be all dark, and they'd say, this is happening exactly to plan. Let's start stage 2.
Love it. Yeah.
Oh, it's so stupid, and they would do it over and over again.
You can't do it over and over again, but it can be a lot of fun.
But it would be in any kind of anime. There could be like an anime about kids playing with cards or Battle Royale or anything. Like, yeah, little fairy creatures, and there'd still be some person going, exactly as I planned.
That reminds me, for some reason, I don't know why, Inspector Gadget, the Claw.
Yes, Dr. Claw.
Dr. Claw, yeah. Stroking the cat and saying, it's going exactly as I planned it.
Yeah, it would just be so... I mean, why does that we even need that character? Why do we need a conspiracy behind everything that's happening? This isn't a conspiracy kind of story. But yeah, so
you maintain that tension, that sort of keep things, hopefully, I mean, I'm talking in theory, like this is to keep things, keep people interested going forward. So in a weird way, it's like the cousin of like a will they, won't they romance in a way, which is can be ill-advised as well. It can be a delicate balance. It can start to annoy people.
Because if someone says, like, especially after like a victory of the side we identify, like the protagonists, and someone from the antagonist says this, like, haha, yes, exactly as we wanted, then immediately the audience is going to say, okay, what went wrong here? Something is wrong, and we haven't caught up on the overarching trap that is being set, or something like
initially, yeah, but because I think because anime did it so much, it became meaningless.
Yeah, so. And you have to deliver, right? So if someone does say according to plan, then you have to see at least the trap has to be sprung, and you have to see why it was according to plan.
Yeah.
So there's that.
There has to be some kind of answer. I think the X-Files kind of fell into that, right? Like it had so many questions and such a conspiracy that eventually it became like, well, there is no answer. There couldn't be an answer
to
all of this.
They flogged that horse to death, and especially because they refused to deliver the goods. Like, I think that it wouldn't be so overdone if every time, like, I would actually really enjoy if like the the guy with the smoke all the time, that does things according to plan, if they delivered the trap, and he was always a step ahead of them. And so they had like a minor victory, but they lost something else, which then they had to chase after and fight for, in the next episodes and stuff. So you had the alien of the episode of the week, and then the overarching story, they are dealing with the alien and maybe thwarting some kind of minor plan from the smoking guy, the smoke guy, or whatever, cigarette man. I don't remember what he was called.
I think that is his name. Yeah, the smoking man, or the
okay, the smoking man. But then the smoking man has this contingency in place, like they step on a mine, in a sense, and they have this one step forward, 2 steps back sort of thing, because the cigarette man is so good.
Yeah.
That's just changing it all the time.
Yeah,
The
because I don't
Cinderella
remember
dude.
The pipe
the Marlboro guy. You know, that guy.
Marlboro guy.
The hooker man.
Yeah, and they did do some kind of thing. It was about an alien invasion or
Yeah,
something
it was
with
really
warring
late.
alien, but I don't even remember what the answer was.
You know where
Yeah.
it was done really poorly? This series called Chuck, which is about a worker in like a Best Buy. That's the American thing, but they sell computers and TVs and everything like that, just that stuff. And he suddenly becomes like a secret super agent. But he's based out of this Best Buy, and there's a secret spy base underneath there. But what they did was, in order to keep up, like, audience interest, was they had that kind of thing, all going to according to plan, and they're sort of fighting some sort of secret spy agency, but no one really knows what it is. But the problem was, they would eventually beat it at the end of that season. And then it would be replaced by a new one. But we are the secret spy society behind the spy society. And that went on for 6 or 7 seasons.
Yeah. That's not good.
Why? Nesting Russian dolls of big secret spies. It was just silly. And they did that as well in Castle, which is the Nathan Fillion detective series. The guy from Firefly and whatever.
Yeah.
And the show didn't have to be about that, but then they did that. And it's in these American TV shows, it's a way of weekly serializing things. So you have the episodic action, but that becomes the serialized action. Like, you thought the story was over, but really things carry on and building up into this thing. But it's just so tropey and so cliche that it becomes annoying.
Yeah.
You don't really care about that other factor? Oh, really? With the Moriarty sort of thing?
No, Bones.
Bones. Yes, Bones. Yeah, you're right.
I don't remember who it was. But yeah, they tried to and didn't work very well. I mean, I remember like the last 2 seasons were really tiring. Yeah. Because they had all this cloak and dagger stupid stuff that has nothing to do with the original premise, which was supposed to be a whodunit every episode, and that's all it is. So
yeah, well, that's annoying. Like, there's another trope aspect to that, but yeah, very much, because you have these characters who are, the show is based around the premise of them solving crimes, and then the crimes are actually directed at them, which is not what it's about. And the team's not set up to cope with that. And that's a trope as well, the idea of, we're meant to solve a crime, but then things attack us instead. And just attack the characters. Like, oh no, they're meant to solve crimes, but the crime is directed at them and they have to solve their own crime. That's just... I think that probably started with... Sorry, go on.
No, you're gone.
I was going to say that would have started with Sherlock Holmes, with Moriarty being a direct threat rather than just something he had to solve. But
that was done well though.
Yeah. Usually the first things that create tropes are the fun things. And go on, Baines.
Yeah. I thought the show Dexter in the first 4 I think it's the first 4 seasons, did that incredibly well. I mean, you already have the kind of intensity of he's a serial killer who kills serial killers. And he's also whatever, he works in a lab with the police. So he works with the police. Plus he's secretly got this other thing. Each season would have a sort of mastermind who either was targeting Dexter or became involved with Dexter, or Dexter targeted that big villain. And again, first 4 seasons only. I thought the balance there was brilliant. Every episode had a beginning, middle, and end. It was exciting, but the season-long arcs were, I thought, they were all satisfying. First 4. Then it went off the rails completely, but
Yeah, as it does.
things do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think one movie that, at least as I remember it, I haven't seen it in many years, that I think did it very well, that the villain turns against the investigator, was The Bone Collector with Denzel Washington. He was playing this quadriplegic
Yeah.
detective, and I think was it Angelina Jolie that was playing the other detective that was basically his legs and hands, I think, his arms.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And I think that it was an excellent duo, by the way, that they played both very, very well.
Oh,
That
man. Great.
it made sense why the serial killer would turn against the specific guy. And it didn't happen immediately, and it happened exactly when it had to happen. And the resulting, climactic, quote unquote, fight scene, because a quadriplegic guy cannot fight,
Yeah.
but he's being attacked by this serial killer with a knife or stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was great suspense. It really
Sure
was.
was.
And it, yeah, but I haven't really seen it done very well elsewhere that I can think of right now.
Yeah, it's tricky when you show. I mean, in a series, then it's even more tricky because you set it up to be a certain way, and then you're inverting things. In a movie, yeah, you can definitely plot and plan that out way better. And say in Dexter, I haven't seen it, but I imagine it's done better because it's not set up to be a certain way. Like, this team is about crime solving, and that's what they do. And then it really doesn't work when it's inverted. But with Dexter, it does, because he's always like a bit weird in his in the setup, in that he kills serial killers, so he's not out to solve crimes and stuff like that. So it's always him versus someone. So that makes
well, it's both,
sense.
right? So even when a season-long arc is done and that's resolved, going forward, you still have this ongoing kind of tension and conflict. So it's still there, that's not resolved, and it never will be, kind of thing, because of his nature.
Yeah, that can work really well. Yeah.
It's tricky to use tropes in the right way, but I think we hit on something. Like, if things are planned out and not just inserted into the series or the story to change it halfway, then it's very tricky to make something work when you're sort of flying by the seat of your pants in a way. So a good example of that is what was that show? Breaking Bad, where they everything is meticulously plotted out in a season from beginning to end. So it's just, the planning is just incredible. So things work. So you can have that, seemingly changing in style or formula. I'm not even sure, like, what kind of tropes do they use in Breaking Bad? It's such a clever show.
Really it, so I don't know.
Well, I guess it's a crime show, basically.
Oh, it's Scarface. That's the trope they use.
Yeah, well, the idea is, can you turn this Mr. Rogers, or I think they said Mr. Chips, but I don't know who that is, but turn Mr. Chips into Scarface over the course of a series. So, that was the basic framework. They had the basic arc in mind, and then season to season, like you said, they would write it out. And basically, they would go by intuition and feedback to say, like, okay, how far do we go this season? Is this too far? Is he too villainous? We'd sort of do it bit by bit, writing one season at a time, and worked out very well.
Mr. Chips, by the way, is a teacher, a beloved teacher from a British story. So, yeah, there you go.
Okay.
An inspiring
so
teacher.
Not a talking horse. I was thinking of something.
Not this one.
That made no sense to me. Now it makes sense.
Sorry, Tans, what were you going to say?
Nothing.
Oh.
I muted it because I finished eating my noisy peanut snack. So.
Oh, okay.
Nobody needs to hear me munching. So. But in terms of tropes, the one trope that I really like lately, and is the do-over. Like a character really messed up in their life. They did everything wrong, or they were a villain, or they made all the wrong choices, which led to their death. And then somehow they wake up when they are still at the beginning of the spiral. And they have this second chance to make different choices and become different people. And we see all the characters that interacted with them before, how they change, how their behavior is different because the main character is different now, knowing what would happen when,
I love that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
Love it. Is there a lot of Korean drama that does that?
Lately, I've seen Chinese ones have had this trope. One that I really liked, and I recommend if anyone wants to see it, is called Cunning Palace, spelled with a K and a double N. And it is the story about this, excuse my language, royal female dog woman that in any case she does things so badly that she basically dies. And then, well, we are shown the author that has been forced to write the story a certain way, and the author hates these tropes that have been imposed on her. So she says, I'm going to rewrite it and I will work it in the story that is already published by making the character, go back into their original life, but having the memories of all the things that happened. And so we watch the story again with the character now having been shocked by their death and how they died, and saying, okay, let's backtrack and see what I did wrong here. And it's beautiful. It's beautifully done. Has lots of politics in it, which I also personally really love, and also has the obligatory love story, B-plot, that doesn't interfere with the A-plot, which is how this woman decides to change her fate by basically stop being a female dog person. So,
yeah. Did you say she doesn't change her fate, or she does?
She does. The whole point is, and it is a study of, you see how other characters that hated her, how they become her allies this time. So, yeah, I love it. And I've also been watching, and it's I haven't seen the finale, but I know how it ends. So I know it's going to end well. A story called The Princess Royal, which is again the same thing, but this time it is a couple that was estranged, and basically they both get murdered on the same day by different people, and then they wake up again just before they get married. So they have to decide, will they get married again? Do they want to be in contact with each other and all of that? And how they move forward. And the biggest theme of this that I really like and I recommend is that the reason we end up realizing that the reason they became so estranged and which led to their deaths is because they would not communicate in their original life as a couple. But because when they go back, they are already pissed at each other and they start talking. You did this to me. No, I wasn't the one that did this to you. Someone else did this to you. That sort of thing. or I did this because I was thinking in this manner, clearing up misunderstandings and prejudices and biases and stuff. They start communicating, and through communication, not only they come closer, but they also problem solve. And the things that would have completely demolished them in their original lives now become lesser threats. And I really love that. So yeah, highly recommend.
Great. I love that. I love that idea too. There's like the time loop genre, that kind of is able to do a version of that.
I do.
The movie Sliding Doors. Like, remember the Gwyneth Paltrow movie Sliding Doors? I could watch, not with her or the same story, but like that gimmick. I was like, they should just make one of those every year.
Yeah. I would watch that. I really love that.
There's a few anime in that genre too, which a lot of anime actually, which I really love. Some good ones, like there's one called Real Life or something. Like it's just in the title. So that's exactly what you're gonna see. So there's this guy who is his life is going nowhere, and everything's failed and stuff. And he goes to this agency, and they say, "Yeah, we can give you back your last year in high school, and you can redo everything, and you can see how if you can fix stuff." So they give him a pill, and he wakes up the next day as an 18-year-old, and he can make friends again and just try and navigate socially and do better this time. And it was worked really well. It worked really well. And there's always this thing where he has these the people from the agency come in and visit him and see how he's going and stuff like that. So it's like as like social workers or something.
Oh.
So they're trying to make sure his life is fixed, So it's
Real Life, is it all one word? Just RELIFE?
I think so, or RE:life.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Another one that I really liked recently, again a sister trope to this, is the story about this woman that takes the bus, and the bus explodes and she dies. But the moment she dies, she wakes up 20 minutes or I think 10 minutes before the bomb goes off on the bus, and she has to realize who is doing it, why they are doing it, and to stop it. And not just stop it without anyone dying. And every time she tries, she ends up dying and goes back again, and she restarts. And the whole series is called The Restart. And it's so well done. It's just 12 episodes, I think, either 12 or 15. 12 episodes, no second of any episode is redundant. Like, you are kept trying to second guess what is happening. And when you realize exactly who is doing it, why they're doing it, and what caused all of that, it is heartbreaking in one sense, but it is also excellent suspense. Mm-hmm. So again, highly recommend. I think it is Chinese, if I'm not. I think it's Chinese, not Korean.
Sounds like that Tom Cruise movie. Was it Edge of Tomorrow?
Yes.
Yeah. I really like that trope. It has nothing. It's the same premise, and then you have to. Each time they relive it, they slowly gain some knowledge.
They advance further and further and further.
Yes.
And they change things.
Exactly. But then they have the added, at least in the Restart, I haven't seen Edge of Tomorrow. I want to, but haven't got around to it. They don't have infinite times to redo it. Every time it is a burden on their body. Like they become weaker. So they have... They cannot say, okay, we will restart. You have to figure it out as fast as possible. So,
right.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of those weird ideas on a time loop. I think. I mean, time loop is a trope. So we've got restarting trope and also time loop trope. It's like Ben said, Groundhog Day, Palm Springs, a few other things that do that. Meet Cute, which I hated.
I've never heard of that one.
Oh, it's a terrible one with the Davis comedian. Something Dave. I don't know. It's not. I didn't like it. Maybe other people do, but it's not my cup of tea.
Is it Happy Death Day? I think it's called.
Hey.
Happy Death Day.
Oh, is that another one?
It's a slasher movie, but it's a loop. This
okay.
girl in college ends up in a time loop, and she's similar to the Groundhog Day guy. She's a kind of a jerk. So she learns that, and she, gets past her the scars she has, the wounds she has, and it's also there's a killer she's trying to unmask, and she keeps dying. And there's also a time limit too, because with each loop her body is more damaged.
Oh
yeah, excellent. I'll say that then. It goes on my list.
What was that?
No, I said it goes on my list of to watch movies. So
wonderful.
Yeah, there's good ones in the time loop tropes. Love them. I like a good time loop when it's done well.
Me too.
It's good.
Me too. There's an indie author, and I've been just Googling it. I know I've read some of his books. He's on Amazon, and he writes this series where people, certain people, they die and their consciousness goes back in time, and they get to relive their lives. And I read a couple. They're very nice. They're pretty sentimental, but they're good. Oh, I'll send them to you if I can find the title.
One in that vein there was this film about starred Jake Gyllenhaal. I'm not really sure how to pronounce his name, but in that this American intelligence agency was using this guy's consciousness in order to I can't remember what they were trying to find out where this bomb happened or
on a plane.
Yeah, this bomb thing, and it turned out that they were communicating with this Jake Gyllenhaal, but it turned out he had been an Apache pilot or gunner or whatever, and the helicopter crashed, and he pretty much almost died. There was nothing of him left there. He was just barely holding on. Being kept alive, he can't see anything. He just exists in his memories, and so that's the premise. And they're trying to find out where this bomb happened on this train. But as we get deeper and deeper into this, and he can explore his memories, but he actually explores further than his memories. From my memory, I'm badly remembering this, and he sort of breaks outside of that and creates a new world. Basically, he comes into the world. It's really weird.
Yeah, and I think that in the end he escapes into that new world because his body is completely damaged and he's basically dead. Something like that.
Well, that's a weird trope.
I liked it.
That was unexpected, that one.
Yeah. Was it a woman at the window? I don't remember.
Nor do I. I don't know. I just remember.
But I do remember it, as a movie.
Yeah. All right. So we've explored the time tropes and the reliving tropes.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
What other tropes are our favorite tropes? Conspiracy tropes. You got that one.
Power couples. I really love a good power couple.
Okay. The old plug and socket.
Yeah, exactly. In the sense that they are through the flirting, the will they, won't they, all of that. They are a couple. They are an item. They complete each other in the sense that they are totally in sync, and their sum is better than when they are apart. As a team, they are much more powerful and more formidable than they are apart. And I really love that.
And they're equals too. There's not the man and his sidekick woman.
No.
Equals, or the opposite. The woman and his sidekick man. But,
no. Absolutely equal. absolutely equals, and like totally in sync. No friction between them at all. They are on the same page, same wavelength, and they are out there to do things. And I love it for protagonists and antagonists. Like a villain power couple is for me chef's kiss, and I hope
Nice.
I get my like I do it right for Verdant, but a big reason why I made Verdant was because I wanted a villain power couple.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
good power couples in films. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the Angelina Jolie.
Yeah,
Brad Pitt
yeah,
movie.
yeah, yeah.
That's a classic.
Right.
But also
I would have liked a movie where they are already a power couple in the beginning, like not they have to discover each other and then go against each other, and like can we start from where you are actually fighting together?
we'll say there's all the Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson films are power couple films, like Starsky and Hutch,
Yeah.
Zoolander, quite a few others. I don't know all the titles, but these films, these Ben Stiller, even if he writes them and doesn't like star in them, like what's his name, Owen Wilson, and there's the Interns, the Google one, where he stars with some other fellow. I can't remember his name, but what's his name? Bugger. Anyway, Interns. Yeah, a lot of those kind of films with Owen Wilson usually has the star and someone else. They're power couple films, but there's two men who star and as being.
Are they romantically involved?
They're not romantically involved, but they work as a team. They work as like they are.
Mm-hmm.
The action happens
those
only
are
because
friends.
these two are working together and they're best friends.
I love that too for like friend
Platonic
couples,
power couple.
platonic couples, but I really like the romantic couples because they are so rare. Usually they are all hung up on the whole will they, won't they, for whatever reason, and or they are in a unequal power dynamic, which I don't like. I like them to be equal. So
Yeah, it's a bit rarer when it's
you don't see it
romantically
really
involved couple. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, Romancing the Stone. I don't think that one really. Well, one of those ones that like there's 3 films in that kind of thing. 2 of them directly connected: Romancing the Stone, Jewel of the Nile, and then War of the Roses, which is not really related, but it has all the same actors.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of like spiritually part of a trilogy, even though it's not directly.
A little hint of that would be, I think, in True Lies. In the end,
when True Lies, even though she doesn't know the truth until the end. But,
like when in the end, in the epilogue, let's say, when they show them actually being on a mission together. That's what I'm talking about. When they're dancing the tango, and then they find this dude that pretends to be an agent, and they scare him just because they want to troll him. That's the thing I like.
And they hint at the idea that this going forward, they're a team.
Yes.
Yeah, that was really good. A really good ending to that, and you really want to see more of that.
Yeah, I would see, like, immediately. I would go see a sequel where they are a couple on a mission, and they are
TV series based on that.
Are they?
I don't know. I think they made or they were going to make a TV series based on the idea. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
And one of the weird aspects of that was because, Arnie is the Superman. Like, he doesn't need anybody as a sidekick or as a partner. And then they gave him that, and wow, it really worked.
It really did. And even I think it's done even well when they before the establishment of the power couple. In True Lies, it was done really well how they are equals, even when they are feeling their way around each other, in a sense. And
actually, speaking of an Arnie film that does that, the original Conan the Barbarian. So it starts off really as him sort of being the solo Superman hero, and then he gets this other guy who comes along with him. What's his name? Subotai comes and joins him. But really, the person who he goes along well with is I can't remember her name, but this woman that he meets and he falls in love with, and she falls in love with him, and they become a fantastic team. And there's a whole bunch of sequences where it shows them invading these fortresses together and stealing these things, and they're both just a fantastic team of equals, and that's how they're shown, and it's really, really effective and really well done. So yeah, they are a power couple until she dies.
I was going to ask that, does she survive this?
I guess I think of Rick and Michonne in The Walking Dead. Parts of it. They're maybe other than Mr. and Mrs. Smith, they're the ones I think of the most. Even though that's a long-running show, and you saw them meet initially, and then they got together, but they were very strong on their own. But then for a period of time, an awesome power couple and the leader of their community, and both warriors, and then they have a show together. I haven't seen it though. I don't know if it's any good, but. They were both awesome characters, awesome actors, and seeing them fighting together, so great.
Yeah, I love that. I will watch that all day.
Yeah,
absolutely love it.
It is great. Maybe you see them in ensemble things more, TV shows where they have more time, so there's a stretch, and then ensemble things where they can still do their romance plots with other characters, maybe. And then you'll see this couple as one set of characters. I don't know why it's so rare. Yeah, it's great.
But I don't know. My theory is that authors like the easy romantic B plot. That is, will they, won't they?
It's where's the drama? Where are we going to get our dramatic tension?
Which is, there are so many things that couples have to resolve together without being at odds with each other, or pussyfooting around each other.
Jealousy and
I hate the jealousy trope. I hate it. I cannot stand it.
It's annoying. All right, so another unrelated trope. Okay, you mentioned the Isekai to me ages ago. So it's a traditional, old-fashioned trope. It's one of the oldest tropes there is, really. Even though people think, "Oh, Isekai is new," that's Japanese. Well, of course, it's not Japanese. It's universal. Everybody from all cultures has done. People being transported to other worlds. It was the first way that fantasy was ever done, was transporting to other worlds. And it used to be how all fantasy and sci-fi was done back in the day when, people really started doing pulp fiction, and we started doing fantasy and sci-fi. We did it by transporting people to other worlds. That was just the thing. So, and now it's become a lot rarer because, now it's not rarer, but it did become rarer because people sort of dispense with that intermediary of having someone transported, and they just set the story in fantasy or set it in a futuristic world. You didn't need to have someone going into a dream state and being transported or being taken away, which you always did in those older stories. So yeah, we have people directly in that thing. So the other way people did those older stories was having someone read a journal from someone else. So it was a kind of ham-fisted way of transporting the reader and having them accept that this happens somewhere else or some weird premise. Yeah, so that was their way of doing it. And eventually people learned you don't have to do that. Readers are smart enough. But now it's come back again. Well, I mean, it's always been around. It's never really gone away. But yeah, it's really popular in Japanese anime and manga at the moment. Made a massive resurgence because they're based on video games mainly. because people play games, and that's a thing that people understand. Yes, we play a fantasy game, and this is what happens in the fantasy world, and people do magic in this way, and then so that's how they do the manga story or the anime story. A character gets transported to a fantasy world, which is basically a game world, and everything is based on the game. So when they kill monsters, they get money and points and experience, and it's very stupid. Initially, it was clever, but yeah, now it's just dumb.
I was thinking Jumanji. I really liked both the first and the second one. So.
Oh, I love You mean the second one, as in the Also, the original was Robin Williams back in the day, and then we've got these the two reboot ones, well, sort of sequel with The Rock and Kevin Hart and various other ones. I love those.
I really like. I also like how the Rock played the girl and all of that. Like, I really like that.
He's not the girl. He's a dork.
Is he the dork?
Yeah, he's the
real
kind of.
Where is the girl? In whose body is she? I think she's in.
There's two girls. One's becomes Jack Black. The hot girl becomes Jack Black.
Okay, yeah, that's the one I was thinking.
And the dork girl becomes a sexy character.
Yeah. Okay.
I think, and
I love it.
And there was and the big tough jock football player guy. He becomes Kevin Hart. That's so all having people playing opposites.
Yeah, I love that, and I was impressed that the actors convinced me that these were the people. Like the girl was Jack Black, and all of that. I liked it.
Yeah,
that's really funny. Yeah.
Now that is so like there's Isekai, which is transported to another world, and this is sort of a subset of characters transported to another world, which is really a game. And Jumanji is one of the classic ones that does this, and I freaking love. So originally they're transported to a board game world, which was Jumanji as a board game, and then it becomes a video game world, which is the Rock, Kevin Hart films, Jack Black, whatever. Transported to a game world, it really works, and it's just done so freaking well.
Another trope that I really like, and I have not really seen it very often, or at least I haven't come across it and done well, is the two worlds colliding and having to sort of find a balance. And I mean, like having culture shock, two characters with extreme culture shock that also have to work together. And one of the best representatives for this is this, not exactly musical, but musical-ish movie called Kinky Boots, which is the story of this shoemaker that
I know the one.
His father's shoemaking factory is going to go out of business because they cannot find an audience, basically, like a customer, a target audience for their shoes. So he decides to make extremely hardy shoes, like high-heeled boots and very female-looking shoes for cross-dressers and transvert. I always cannot pronounce this. Like drag queens.
Yeah.
And
trans people.
Also trans people, but especially drag queens that need the high heels to do numbers without the heels breaking and hurting their ankles and stuff like that. So, and he's like the absolutely typical country British guy who is shoved into this world of super elaborate, fancy drag queen world, and now they have to work together. And I highly recommend the movie. I think it is one of the best I have seen, and the end scene is basically perfect in my opinion. But it is basically worlds that wouldn't normally come into contact, having to be in contact and work together, sort of thing. I really love that when it is done well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do love the a fish out of water
Mm.
thing as well, which is very similar to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it has to be done respectfully. Like in this movie, both worlds, there isn't like, oh, look at this joke person that comes from this joke background,
Right.
now immersed in this amazing culture, or vice versa. Like both sides are treated very respectfully
Yeah.
as being worthwhile worlds of people with different interests and different needs and all
Yeah.
that. And I love that because if you don't have that, it feels very like, okay, let's attack this group of
Right.
people.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
Oh, let's show how this person is inadequate and being reformed and
yes. Oh no, I hate
Yeah. I hate that too. Yeah.
that.
The worst.
yeah, because it's always, I mean, and it should be hated because it's always shown from a particular perspective, and this perspective is right, and this perspective is wrong, and we're
Yeah.
educating you now, so it's
Yeah,
patronizing.
Exactly. Whereas in like in movies like the one I mentioned, they don't change. The guy that makes the shoes does not become a drag queen, and the drag queens do not stop being drag queens and
Yeah, they're
become
not.
British country people. They remain. They keep their identities absolutely intact, and they accept each other fully.
Yeah, they just
Right.
enrich and learn about each other. And,
Exactly, and that's all there is to it. And you know, they both start with bias. Both sides have their own biases and prejudices and stuff like that. And by the end of the movie, they don't have that. And
Yeah.
and that is my feel good trope. I really like that. So
Oh yeah.
they're the same people, but they just have the prejudices. So,
exactly.
that's good.
Fantastic.
A worthwhile trope: the worlds colliding and the subset, which is fish out of water.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. Okay, so another a trope that I love is adventure, like the old style 1930s kind of adventure, which I did a whole Quackcast about. I forced these guys to do it because I love those the old 1920s, 1930s adventure stories and other modern stories that follow it, like what was it? The Matthew McConaughey film Sahara, and there was he did like two or three of them. And there are some other ones that also follow the same thing.
I like the Mummy. I think like the original.
Oh, the Mummy. Yeah. That's a great example. Love it.
Me too. That was so fun. I really
Love
like
it.
the old style. Let's discover, like, go archaeology, but then you know some of the myths are true, and you know all of that. I really
Indiana
like that.
Jones, of course.
Absolutely,
How could
yeah.
I forget that one? Yeah, like I freaking love that style of story. There was a Pixar version about adventure, although they weirdly changed it to be a sci-fi setting about these weird people and introducing the first proper gay characters in a Pixar story. I can't remember what it was called though, but something like Adventure World or something. Yeah, It was an interesting little story. It flopped for them, big Pixar flop. But speaking of Pixar, a trope that I really tired of that is done in almost every 99% of Pixar movies is the growing up story. The story about a character finding their way and growing up in their family. Like almost every Pixar story follows that trope. Someone
coming of age stories.
Coming of age, there you go.
Yeah.
And they can be an older character coming of age or a younger character, but they always do it. Bless you, Chance.
Sorry about that. But yeah, I like them, but they can't be overdone. So
Oh, and I like Toy Story is just all about that. They don't do it in every single thing, but they do it in most of them. You know, Red,
yeah.
whatever. You
The
can.
one I really liked in the sense of coming of age, but it wasn't just coming of age. It was also finding like healing from trauma and all of that. Was Coco. I think that for me was the peak
Oh,
Pixar movie.
Coco's fantastic, and these films I'm talking about, they're really good, and I like them. I just get annoyed that they keep on doing that trope,
Yeah.
but they're all good. They're all fantastic, excellent. I'm not saying was it like Coming Red or Becoming Red or something? That's a awesome, fantastic film.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
And there was the one about the
Red
big,
Panda.
yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
There was that one about that South American people with the big family. Oh my god, I can't remember any titles.
Encanto.
Encanto, yeah, which was the same thing again. Someone finding their way and coming of age. Beautiful story. It was just excellent. But yeah, same old trope.
Yeah. Another trope I really like is someone becoming empowered in some way. So they start off as a person with a lot of hang-ups, and then they have to find their way, in the sense not to come of age, but to become powerful enough to say no, or to say that I'm not going to keep doing this. I'm going to take my life in my own hands, that sort of thing. That's a bit vaguer as a trope, but...
Well, they did that in the Red one, Getting Red. I can't remember what the title was, but that was what that story was about.
Oh, all right.
The character being empowered and finding her own way and saying no to her mum and not wanting to continue the family tradition. So
Right. Yeah. But not only that, it could be, again, I cannot think of a movie or a title right now, but for example, a woman or a man that has to escape a toxic relationship. Someone that realizes that they have been moving mountains, in a sense, and they don't need to be dependent on this other person that is basically taking advantage of them, in a sense.
Yeah, I can think of a few that do that. Can't remember the titles at the moment, but yes, there are a few that do that. Bones, can you think of any?
Any with that trope? I do like it as well. Examples aren't flooding into my mind at the moment.
Oh god, yeah, I know the Renee Zellweger one. Bridget Jones' Diary. She does that.
Yeah, but it's not done very well. I didn't like it because it is very cliche, and I'm not convinced, I guess. Okay. One that I really like that is in that vein is a person overcoming their PTSD, and I think it is called the dark room or dark rooms or a dark corner or something like that. I'll find it in a second. And the idea is that this, when they were young, this girl witnessed the murder of her family, and she's the sole survivor of her family, I think, and supposedly her brother killed the rest of her family. And then the detectives, eager to close the case, got the girl and basically verbally abused her into pointing her finger at her brother that he was the one to do it. Right. And after that, she got a lot of. She has it's one of the best depictions of PTSD, by the way. and she has all these things, and then she comes of age. She's like 25 years old or something, and slowly, with the help of this one person that helps her, pull her out of the dark place. That's dark places, I think it's called, of the dark place that she starts slowly remembering things that go against this official story.
The narrative.
Yeah, and it's a great story, very well done. I'll find it in a second. And one very well-known actress is the main character, but I don't remember who. Let me find it.
Oh, we're going to...
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it is called The Dark Places, and it is... oh my God. Charlize Theron. Plays.
Oh, Charlie's.
Oh,
Charlie.
Yeah.
Extend.
Okay.
Another story that does that is Gerald's Game.
Oh,
But it does it in a weird way. So she faces a new trauma, which helps her strangely come to terms with her old trauma.
Right.
So that's
I really like
clever.
that. Yeah.
But very dark because it's a Stephen King story.
Of course.
yes, kind of a sibling to Misery in a way. It reminds me.
So yeah, we've been covering this topic about tropes. Should we finish up now? Any final trope ideas or reflections on tropes we've mentioned? I think one of them I forgot to mention was I didn't forget it, but we were talking about the time loop trope, and one of my favorite examples of that was Run Lola Run, which is the 3 specific
Oh, I
attempts.
love that.
to
That was
solve.
one of my best. Yeah, how could I forget that?
Yeah, it's so
Okay.
fun. So instead of infinite versions or a big number, she only has 3 tries. It's really fun.
Right.
Any others you could sort of think of?
Well, I've done a news post on it before. We might have talked about it before, but I love the character trope, the sort of grizzled old warrior mentor, very gruff, very tough,
Yeah.
abrasive maybe, but super capable. I like that kind of character as a side character, especially, and then maybe getting a little spotlight on them being awesome. I love characters.
Yeah. And bonus points if they are connected to the plot in some way, like they have some knowledge of things that have happened.
Yes.
And in the end, they contribute this knowledge. I love that even more.
They don't just die off, which happens sometimes.
Yeah.
They're used as this kind of fridging thing. You kill off the mentor in order to forward the plot.
Well, that's a tough thing about loving that character. Yeah, often they're slated to die, and that's always very sad. Yeah, because you want to see them again.
Exactly. All right. Okay. We've covered some interesting ones. All right. We should say goodbye then. This has been podcast number 696.
All right.
Goodbye. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.